Welcome to the shift. Welcome back for another week here. For those of you joining live, if you're tuning in with us either on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, yeah, just let us know in the chat where you're joining from. We'd love to hear where you are in the world. We know we have, just such a beautiful global community here that we're continuing to build. Laura, are we live on Instagram now?
Yeah, we are. We just went live.
Amazing. So yeah, if you're on Instagram and you're joining live, let us know. If you're tuning into the replay and you just want to say hi, like feel free to pop into the comments and let us know that you're tuning in and catching up here on the replay. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about just what the opportunity is to step into nervous system work right now, specifically capacity building work. So we know, again, we've talked a lot on this platform here on the shift about what nervous system work really is. And we've talked a lot about capacity. 2 weeks ago, on March 11th, Laura and I led a live capacity experience where we actually walked our community through a capacity scoring exercise that we launched for the first time ever publicly. And it's something that we are going to be trademarking and we're going to be sharing inside of our neurosomatics cohort coming up that's starting here in 2 weeks on April 7th. So yeah, if you're interested and you didn't see that invitation go out, but you're like, yes, feels like the right time, let us know and we can drop the link for the replay for that. So we're not going to be talking about capacity because we've done a lot of that already. We've laid the foundation. So if you want to catch up on that, feel free to pop back to some of our prior shifts over the last couple months where we talk more about capacity and what it really is. But today we're going to specifically be talking about what are we missing out on, or what is the missed opportunity when we wait? And so this isn't about rushing. This isn't about forcing our nervous systems to do something that's genuinely not ready for. But if you're watching this right now or you're tuning into the replay, I think the probability and the chances of it being the right time for you are pretty high. Like you wouldn't be here, God wouldn't have led you here if it wasn't the right time for you. And so Laura and I have seen this pattern with a lot of women in our community, leaders in our community that are so capable that are ready for this work, but that are still hesitating. And so we want to give language to the hesitation. We want to normalize it because it is a really intelligent nervous system response that's happening, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to keep waiting or that now isn't the right time. And so we want to help you kind of just navigate that, but especially for those of you that maybe are leaning into joining us in a few weeks and joining neurosomatics and have been really wanting to take this next step, but are maybe still feeling, just like that you're still in that waiting. Like, oh yeah, but maybe now's not the right time because, I just had this happen, or I just made this financial decision, or I have a baby on the way, or maybe I just had a baby and I'm still postpartum. And so actually maybe those are the very reasons why now is the right time. So before we dive into this a little further, I just want to take 60 seconds here just to allow your nervous systems to settle in. Like maybe there was something stirring within your body just as I was naming what I just named. So I just want to invite you to take 60 seconds here just to start to notice like where you are right now. So just maybe even noticing your posture, the position that you're seated in. If you're standing or walking, like maybe just starting to notice what's around you. Noticing any colors that are really drawing your attention. There's a gust of wind outside my window right now. So I'm noticing the sound of the wind and that there's a bunch of leaves that are falling and blowing. So just orienting here to your space. Noticing if anything in particular catches your attention and if you want to pause there and just take 10, 20 seconds to notice that object. And you can also just, yeah, allow your gaze to kind of wander in the space, almost as if you're soaking up the space that you're in for the very first time. And perhaps in this short exercise that we're doing, maybe you start to notice something internally. So for me, I just started to kind of notice my breath for the first time today. Had a busy morning. Yeah, but as I, just start to notice my environment, I'm starting to even notice what's happening here internally. So maybe that's coming up for you. Maybe you're noticing a deeper breath come in, or a little bit more saliva in your mouth, or maybe your shoulders just are dropping a little bit. Or maybe you feel the urge to shift your posture a little and get a little more comfortable. Yeah, Laura, what are you noticing as we just orient here and tune into our nervous systems here just for a moment?
Yeah, no, I'm just noticing movement. Like my body actually kind of wants to move a little bit. And for those of you maybe noticing the same thing, I just invite you to like, yeah, maybe like if you want to stretch or like sway, because I think sometimes also with this work, we and I've talked to like many like my clients, of course, and like those in communities and our obviously our students, but like we think nervous system work has to be this like slow, like meditative process. And for a lot of high achievers, that can feel really a little bit stressful actually, because like your guys are just such fast movers. And so this idea of like looking around or like being like having to be slow, like your system doesn't love that. So again, I want what just like the invitation here to like just also move. Like it's okay to move. And this work can actually be, it's actually really dynamic, and it's actually can be really fun. Like when you're really actually in it, like there's elements of it that actually can be fun. So I also just wanted to name that.
Oh, that's so good, Laura. Like fun. There's space for play here. It's actually a really critical ingredient to this work. And just a gentle reminder that this work isn't about calm. I mean, calm can happen, especially if that's something like you're a busy parent. Like I know I'm in that season right now. So I'm moving all the time, all day long with my extremely active son. So my nervous system is actually orienting to wanting stillness when I can get it. And there's times where even though I've been moving all day, I'll notice like what my system actually needs, even though I have been moving, is like more nervous system led movement.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like my toddler, he's grabbing me all day, like he's kind of guiding the ship, and I want to allow him to be really curious in that. So when I get a moment for myself, yes, sometimes I want stillness, but sometimes it's like, oh no, I want to like get into my body and let my nervous system decide what that movement is. So I love it. The real goal of this work is aliveness, and it's range to move through that aliveness. Calm is one little tiny piece of that, but it's not the only piece. So yeah, thanks for reminding us of that, Laura. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just as you settle in here, feel free to name anything that you're noticing now. We'd love to hear from you. Feel free to drop into the chat. So yeah, we want to talk about just, again, this pattern that we see play out where so many high achieving women that, maybe are used to taking a certain type of action. Like maybe you're used to saying yes to a lot of strategy work or a lot of things that feel really tangible. Like I can, that feel tangible and that feel linear. Like if I say yes to this program, or if I invest in this experience, I'm going to do A, I'm going to do B, and then I'm going to add C, and then D is going to happen. And so it feels really known and really linear. So your system is likely really comfortable saying yes to those opportunities. So you might be like, oh, I don't have trouble taking action, but we're talking about a different type of action. We're talking about saying yes to investing in this capacity building work that inherently is not linear. It's not linear. We always use this image of a circle and these like cycles that build and build on one another. And so inherently when we're in those little mini cycles, it's not a straight line. We're moving and ebbing and flowing, and we're experiencing, and then we're integrating and we're reflecting. And it's this beautiful process. And we actually teach an 8-step capacity framework inside of our program as of this year that actually talks to this specific sequencing that applies to your nervous system, but it also applies to all the clients that you're coaching and working with.
Yeah, I want to just jump in there for just a second, Kate, because I love how you're like talking about this circle, because and actually as Kate is just referencing that, maybe I'm just taking a moment to notice like and again, our nervous systems have been so trained in this to some degree, the linear model, like everything pretty much in our whole schooling growing up was linear, right? You do this, you get this outcome, and then it leads to this, right? And so with this work though, too, I want to name that what we're talking about as well, like in the circle, it's not that you aren't seeing progress, or it's not that you're not getting a breakthrough, or you're not having some type of expansion, because that's exactly what is happening. Like each time, like you're in a process within this 8-step sequence that we've put together, there's some level of like deeper embodiment. There's some level of having even more clarity and even more peace and even more ability to make decisions. Like, not that you're not good at not making decisions, but like sometimes, right, you're asking everyone around you what you should do. And in this capacity sequence, your system is learning how to actually go within yourself, or maybe even go with God to make that decision, versus needing to always look externally, right? Which oftentimes just leads to more overthinking and more spinning. And maybe you make the decision finally, but it's like exhausting, right? So that's another piece I want to name here, that like this work is, you're still seeing progress. You're still seeing outcomes within this like sequence that we've put together. But the thing is that it's going to be a little more, it's just not, like you said, Kate was referencing, it's not just as linear, right? There's a little bit more nuance, but I think there's actually a lot more depth to it, honestly. And I feel like it's more sustainable. It's something you actually continue to take with you, because I feel like with the linear model, it never feels like it's enough.
It's exhausting. I feel like the linear model is exhausting. Like I think about when I used to coach in a way that felt really linear when I was coaching clients. I remember one particular client, we'll call her Molly. That's not her name, but we'll call her Molly. And I remember getting off this call with Molly. We had been working together for maybe 5 months at the time. So like it was like decently long. And she was like the perfect like straight A student, which is what I was when I was younger. It was always like I had a really good memory, so I could memorize things. So I always like performed and achieved well because I was just really good at like executing and like memorizing and executing and then repeating, rinsing and repeating. But it's like my system was never really absorbing and assimilating it in, I think, the way that God designed us to learn and grow and evolve. But Molly was, I just had so much love for her because she just reminded me so much of this, like, she just wanted the gold stars, right? She was like, I did this, I did my homework, look at the strategy that I took action on these things. And there was one call where we got to a point and I was like, I don't feel like I can help her anymore. Like, I feel like we've done literally every strategic thing. We've done every mindset reframe. And she's not like, she was still staying stuck in these patterns, particularly around like sales and business development and putting herself out there. She had the offer, she had her pricing, like she literally had everything. And it was great. And she still wasn't taking action. And in the nervous system world, the language that we would use to describe where her nervous system was is she was very much in this functional freeze cycle, in this pattern. And I just got to a point where I was like, I have so much love for her. I want to help her, but there's like literally nothing else I can teach her or do with her. And so that was a wake up call for me, that the way I was coaching and the tools I was using again was we were getting to this kind of threshold where I was like, okay, I need a better strategy here. I need a better approach. And that's where the nervous system coaching that we teach in neurosomatics was like, then I got trained in all of that and everything completely shifted. But I remember feeling in my own body, Laura, and I would love to hear, like, if you're someone who coaches someone or holds space for someone or helps humans transform in their own experience, whether it's related to their health, their business, their money, their wealth, their leadership. If you've ever gotten to a point where you're like, this actually feels more draining than it feels energizing, like getting on a call with this client, like I felt myself out of breath a lot of times, or just like, I just had this like overall sense of weight that it wasn't like a grounded, like warm, cozy weight. It was like a, this isn't working. And I feel out of breath and exhausted by it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that, Kate. And yeah, I can almost like feel like what you're sharing right now in my own system. And I know definitely I've had those moments, especially at the beginning of my, coaching as well. Like, I mean, even though studying this work, it's a process. And, one thing that you're sharing, Kate, that I think I want to just highlight for everyone here too, is that kind of like double clicking on it, right? Like what Kate is referencing, like this work is identity level shifting work. So like, we're not here to like, just change your strategy. Like we are here. Kate and I have created this program. This is an identity shifting program. And when we talk about identity shift, right? Because a lot of you like, you don't just want like a new strategy. You don't just want like more income. You want to feel like you're empowered and you feel like you can be present with your family. Like there's an identity, right? That you are like feeling or sensing into, or even see, like maybe there's a woman online or a friend you have, when you look at her, you're like, oh, that's the identity like I want to step into. And like Kate's referencing, right? Maybe you're trying to take all these like tactical like steps to get there, to get to that identity, right? And that's not wrong or bad. Sometimes there are tactical things we do, but really 90% to getting to that identity shift, to really step into it, is the work that we do with the capacity expansion and sequencing. So yeah, I just had to name that too. And then actually, as anyone too listening, we want to just briefly talk about as well, like when we say like you're sitting in the opportunity but not moving. And again, for some of you, I know you are like, you're technically moving. You're doing a lot during the day. So we're not saying like you're not literally just sitting and doing nothing. Like you're busy, you're moms, you're like, maybe you're running a business, maybe you work in a corporate job. So you're moving, but there's something like a decision that you're trying to make in regards to like an identity level decision. And this is where you're maybe not like maybe taking the full action. Mm-hmm. And we want to just gently kind of like talk to this a little bit in terms of like, what are some of the signs you're sitting in the opportunity that's right here in front of you, but you're not moving. You're not making the decision, or you're taking the action step fully to move into that opportunity. So maybe it's something like you keep saying like, this feels aligned, but you're still not deciding, right? So alignment without movement is often a nervous system, like some of that functional freeze that Kate was just referencing. That's not clarity, right? Or maybe you're looking for one more piece of certainty, right? Like one more conversation, one more sign, one more moment where it just clicks, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not like, you don't wait because you're confused. You wait because you're trying to eliminate the risk that your body, your nervous system can't hold, right? That this like the risk meaning like, I don't know if this feels safe enough yet. So that's really what your nervous system is saying, which again makes so much sense. You can feel the expansion and then immediately you contract. So you see the next level, you feel it. You might be feeling it now as we've been talking about it. But then maybe a part of your system then tightens, or your overthinking kicks in, or you start slowing down. And again, that's not necessarily misalignment, right? That's your capacity edge. I think this is where so many women get confused. Mm-hmm. They think that like once we hit this, like it means that this is misalignment. No, that's a capacity edge. Yeah. And this is where a lot of people stop. It's where a lot of you stop.
I think it's actually, Laura, I've been there too, where I think it's my intuition telling me not to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Or even like before I had a really clear idea of what God's voice sounded like, I even thought maybe it's like God telling me not to do it.
Yeah.
It's confusing because it feels like such a no, because the fear comes in. There's, like you said, contraction, there's resistance, there's tightness, there's maybe anxiety, maybe there's like increased heart beating. And you're like, why would I say yes to that? That feels like a no. But it's actually, it's just your nervous system stepping towards something that doesn't feel familiar yet. It doesn't feel comfortable or safe to go there yet because you haven't done that before, or you haven't done that at that level. So like you said, like Laura said, it's just an edge that you're hitting. And so that can actually be the very sign that it is a yes, that decision is actually what you need to step into this work, because stepping into this work would actually mean taking the edge where it is right here and being able to increase your capacity. So now that it's actually here, and now you have all this extra room to grow and move and experience, and, whether it's money or your marriage or motherhood or leadership or sales in your business or more visibility, like all these things that you want to step more into and claim the desire that is there in your heart. but right now you don't have capacity for it.
Yeah, so well said, Kate. Yeah, and then there's nuance, right? Like, I mean, in regards to if you're feeling like a lot of fear, or there's just like a lot of just like anxiety, obviously, like that's like there's some level of like where you feel it's right. There's like some peace, but then you're also feeling maybe a little bit of that like butterflies, or maybe you're overthinking. Like that's kind of what we're talking about here. So we're not like just saying like if you're feeling really, really dysregulated and overwhelmed, but like, oh, that's a sign. Like, no, it could actually mean that maybe this is a little maybe too much right now for your system, and maybe we need to slow it down a little bit. But for most of you, I feel like that's not where you are. You can feel it. You know that like this is where you want to be, but then there's like another part of you that feels like, again, like that overthinking comes in, or you feel a little bit of that restlessness with it, or you're wrestling with it a lot, right? And the other thing I want to name with this too, a pattern that we see, is that you're negotiating with something you already know you want. You're consistently negotiating with yourself and with God. And so like when it's this like full body yes, but then your mind is like trying to negotiate the terms all the time, right? That's not discernment. That's a part of your system that's trying to maintain control. So just let that land for a moment. You're trying to feel like her before you move like her. You want the confidence, the clarity, the groundedness before you take the step. But the results of the decision, but those are the results of the decision, essentially. They're not prerequisites for it. And the last thing I'll share here with this piece is that you're overanalyzing instead of expanding. And again, there's no shame in this. I've done this too. I have clients that have been in this pattern before. We've had students, right? Which is like you've reviewed it, you've thought about it, you've talked about it multiple times. And at some point, again, like, right, like more thinking isn't wisdom. We think if we think about it more, that somehow we're going to have more wisdom or clarity. It's not. Yeah. It's avoidance dressed as intelligence. It's a form of avoidance, but it looks acceptable, right? Because it looks responsible. So we label it as responsibility. So there's a few more, but like I think we'll just leave it there because I know we're almost at time today. But these are just some of the things that we wanted to invite you to think about. Maybe even some of the things that you're experiencing right now. And again, it's not to like put shame. We've all done this. We've all been here. It's to actually shine light on it, so that when we shine light on something that maybe it's been in the dark for us, like it can actually bring a lot more clarity and help us to actually step into what it is that God is directing us towards, because he wants us to grow. He wants us to expand. He wants us to have more prosperity. And that can mean multiple things, not just financially, but also like with peace. He wants to bring us fruit in our life, but that fruit, right, is going to require us to step forward and to maybe be a little bit at that edge. Yeah. Anything you want to share, Kate, around?
I'm just being brought back to a previous version of myself. I can like see myself sitting on the couch we still own, but in our old house. And it was at the time, what I named early on, it was like I could say yes to things that felt really clear and linear. And like I even invested in this one mentor that taught that way. And the program, like it was such a letdown. And then a couple months later, I had the opportunity to invest in a program that was in this somatic space that we're in. And I remember like already just like my body had already made the decision that that's what I wanted. Like you were just naming, Laura, like a decision had already been made. But then came in all the things you just named, like the overthinking, but is this really the right program? Or maybe I need to keep looking for the right program, or is this really the right timing because this other thing just happened and now maybe, yeah, like I'm not going to have maybe as much time as I thought, and I remember it was like a God moment where I was like, no, Kate, like you decided this makes sense. And there was still some, apprehension. There was still like some nerves, like the butterfly in my stomach feeling. So it wasn't that I was like, again, we're not telling you to like push through things, but it was like they were both existing at the same time. And I could still feel the anchor of like, no, this is the right decision. And I remember that the people I met in that program, the things that I experienced and what my nervous system moved through was like literally life-changing. But I can remember being on the couch, like literally making the decision to sign up and like wrestling with those parts of me. And so I'm just being brought to that moment, that experience. And just even in talking through this and sharing this with all of you that are listening, I feel like is even like in a way, Laura, it's like healing and just transformative for that previous version of me that didn't have all the awareness and capacity that present day me has. And so I'm just smiling down on her. Yeah, just with so much love and gratitude and reverence for what she was moving through, and also just like really proud of her that she was able to make that decision. So yeah, it's really cool.
That was an identity shifting decision.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why, right, you felt some of the butterflies. That's another sign we know we're making an identity level shift, is when we feel some of those butterflies, but we also know it's right. So it's both.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I'm going to drop in the chat. I'm going to drop the link. If you are like, yes, this is what I need, even though maybe there is some of that duality of the back and forth. Again, that's actually a sign that you're meeting that edge. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to have just a really precise and clear conversation that helps you get that clarity that whether this is the right fit and the right next step for you. So I dropped the link for booking a right fit call with us for our neurosomatics program that starts on April 7th. Feel free to click that, check it out. If you're like, yeah, I want to get on a call, but maybe I have like an immediate question that I want to ask first, like just reach out to Laura and I directly, either on Instagram, or, I'm just going to drop our email in the chat as well. So if you want to just reach out to us via email, like if you feel more comfortable just starting there, and then we can jump on a call if it makes sense after we answer maybe some initial questions that you have. Yeah, please just reach out. We're here for you. We'd love to help guide you in making the right next step for you.
Yes, I love that. We'd love to chat with you. And we're going to leave all of you with this today, which is that what is the hidden opportunity here? So the opportunity in front of you isn't just neurosomatics. It's the version of you who can finally hold what she's been asking for. That's the hidden opportunity. So whether that's more clients, more visibility, more peace, a closer relationship with your spouse, with God, more responsibility, but not like from a place of heaviness, like a responsibility where you can really steward something and multiply it. Right? Like that is what we're talking about in terms of the hidden opportunity. So we would love to meet with you. We would love to have you a part of our next cohort of identity shifting women, because these women are incredible. And we hope you all have a great rest of your week and your weekend. And we look forward to seeing you next week on The Shift.
Bye for now.